The Sharks return home for the first time in nearly a month, hoping to improve on their worst home record in the league and almost get shut out. We'll break down this one, the heartbreaks, the sweets, and whether or not Timo or Erik Karlsson have been traded yet. This is Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day to those who celebrate. It is February 14th, 2023 for those who don't. And the Sharks heartbreak. The crowd of over 13,000 at the Shark Tank to see the Penguins become victorious. As we welcome you to Teal Town After Dark, this is your live interactive Sharks postgame. We do this after every game, as always, so if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok. Find everything at tealtownusa.com. And if you want to support the pod, of course, hit us up on Venmo at tealtownusa or leave a super chat donation in the YouTube chat. It is, once again, us, Puck Guy, and Ian. Ian, bud, how are you?
You say heartbreak, but, it seemed like the fans in attendance were pretty enjoying themselves. Pretty loud, raucous, pro-Pittsburgh. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of Pittsburgh
There was heartbreak?
crowds.
I don't think so.
If you're wearing teal, I mean, it just seems like it was a rough go at it on this evening to see the Sharks 5-12-7. I guess now 5-13-7. Only the Sharks in Anaheim are at single-digit wins for at home. It was their first home game since January 18th. And, this is a team that knocked off Pittsburgh right before their bye week in the All-Star break. But Pittsburgh's got something to play for. I mean,
I mean, look, it's the battle of animals and triangles. I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong.
I mean, that right there. I mean, who is the dominant animal in a triangle? And tonight it was the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Would it be the dominant animal holding a hockey stick or the dominant animal biting a hockey stick?
Well, I mean, Sharks don't have hands. So,
unless you're talking about Sharky, but, I digress.
I don't.
Pittsburgh 2-6-3 in their last 11 games on the road. Dell gets the start. Kakin still dealing with a head injury. Kevin LeBanc gets into the lineup because Gadjevich is out. So
plays like 5 minutes.
How
much? Actually, I want to see the updated. How much did he play tonight?
Take a look because
I'm going right now.
It seems like it's
inquiring minds want to know. I will start by saying this though. I'm really upset that the Sharks scored because I'm like, it's Valentine's Day. The Sharks are gonna try really hard and not score. I could do so many things with that on air, and nope. Timo Meier had to rob me of it. Can't have nice things. Thanks, Timo Meier.
Well, and with the loss, we might have nice things.
Well, maybe
regulation loss.
551. God, amazing.
Wow. And yet was a -1 on the
yeah, of
night.
Course. I mean that's you can't be a -1. It's unexceptional. You got to be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
I mean the Sharks. I mean they don't have anybody else scratch wise on there. It's 2 goaltenders and Nick Cicek as Dell would play this game. As Kakinen would get some rest. Reimer still ill, and Cicek, because he's Nick Cicek, lesser of the evils on defense. Early on, you saw Shark killer Rickard Rakell do it again, his 19th of the season to make it 1-0. what did you take early on in this game? Because I thought the Sharks, I thought the Sharks played well, even dare I say, even outplay the Penguins in this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I wanted to start the show by talking about like the Sharks trying hard and not scoring. Which, you know, hey guys, we've all been there on Valentine's Day.
That's where you were going with that. Okay.
Yeah, it was, you know, whatever. Timo Meier ruined it. I mean, not Timo Meier's probably never had that problem in his entire life. Look at the dude. But
go on.
Yeah, no. Look, I thought they started off the game well enough. You know, I thought, yeah, you know, they started off well enough. The play where the goal goes in, I was a little bit surprised the Sharks didn't challenge here. Now I'm not super grumpy about them not challenging because I'm not confident enough that you know, after that review is over, that they're not just going to be down for 2 men immediately after allowing a goal, for 2 minutes rather. So I don't know. I'm surprised. I didn't think there was enough there to call it back, but I'm still kind of surprised Quinn just kind of threw his hands up like, yeah, whatever, keep playing.
For those who are Niner fans, are probably thinking the same thing like Kyle Shanahan during the NFC Championship game, but he's like, maybe that's a little nah. So, yeah, I thought they played fairly well. Bonilla would take a hooking call later in the period. Nothing really else. Had some good chances, but just couldn't bury them. Casey DeSmith, have a night, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, a heck of a night. What was it? Why can't I pull it up? 38 saves.
39 to 28 were the shots on goal for the Sharks. Like the Sharks had time in the offensive zone. They had their chances. They just couldn't solve Casey DeSmith, which is something that not many teams will have said previously. But, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes a goalie has a good night. Aaron Dell, I thought, had a great night, all things considered. Yeah,
I mean, he had 24 saves on 26 shots. Kept the guys in the game. He had a number of stops on Sidney Crosby, even though Crosby had a 3-point night. I think he played really solid. And you know, we talk about the Raquel goal, but the Gensel goal in the second period became, you know, a little controversial there as Gensel gets a high stick, no call, of course, and then, you know, open net because Dell's looking the other way and got distracted by Couture.
Well, I think Couture, was it Couture that got hit with the stick?
Yeah.
Because I thought, you know, it was probably a high stick and it probably should have been a penalty. But I also think, like, you know, play to the whistle, and I think Couture may have oversold that a little bit. But
never.
No, you're right. He would never. Captain Grumpy Pants would never oversell anything. I don't know. I mean, I think he kind of oversold it. And obviously Crosby's the threat, so everyone kind of went to Crosby like it was Little League, you know, where everyone just kind of goes to the puck. And obviously that's what happens. You know, everyone goes to one player and that leaves 4 other players open. And, you know, sure enough, Gensel gets the puck and scores. Again, like, if I'm the Sharks, I have a gripe here for sure. But I don't care. I'm just these shows are going to get so difficult to do as we just wander down to oblivion.
We're what is this, game 55? We got 27 more of these, bud. 27. This is kind of the 2/3 poll, if my math is correct, and I was always told there would be no math on this show, but yeah, I don't blame you, you know, but you know, that makes it 2-0. Little shaky calls here and there, but again, Casey DeSmith holding off the Sharks. Hell, Randy was already getting early on trying to jinx Casey DeSmith, like in the second period, breaking Oh, his first shutout was against the Ottawa Senators. Like, damn. All right, cool, cool.
Again, does that surprise me? No, the Ottawa Senators have been terrible forever. There are teams where they'd be like, oh man, Casey DeSmith got the better of us, and Ottawa being among those teams does not surprise me.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. Third period, the Sharks would get runs here and there. I thought they were trying to give it a chance, and then of course Timo Meier decides to say, "Screw this! I'm ending the shutout myself." Gets an unassisted goal to gets us all excited. The teaser goal, as we call it around here, makes it 2-1. What did you think of Timo's goal and boosting his trade value a bit more?
I mean, Timo Meier is great. I don't think anything he does or doesn't do now is going to affect his trade value at this point. I think based on the season he's had, his trade value is never. I don't think it's going to be higher than it is now, because obviously you have the flexibility of, if you sign him, you have the flexibility of trying to extend him to a deal to your liking, right? Whereas if you wait until he signs his next contract and then have to trade for that, it makes things more difficult. But no, I mean, it was a great goal by Timo Meier. Timo Meier is great. I mean, Timo Meier and Erik Karlsson have kept this team watchable. That's reality. If you trade both those players, and if you trade one, I think you have to trade both, in my opinion, because it's just, what are you doing if you don't? And yeah, I shudder to think of what that team looks like. I don't. I think these shows suck.
Considering all the forwards were up, Gadjevich is out with an injury, and that's supposedly week to week. Who are you calling up forward-wise? Reedy?
I don't know, man.
Because obviously they don't want to call up the kids. So I
thought McAniemi was going to have to put on the skater skates and have to punch people in the face. I didn't realize Hakkinen wasn't playing at first. I don't know. Who knows, man? Pick a guy, and that's who they'll call up. Pick a guy who's not. It's probably like CJ Cisse is going to give you the guy they're going to call up.
No, that's true. He was up earlier in the year too. Tony Couture saying Gregor Labanc, Svechnikov ought to be sent down the AHL. Bring up Bordeleau, Eklund, and Agazino from the AHL. Is Agazino even on
he's on an NHL deal. He can come up.
He could come up too. So yeah,
Although being at his age, when you went to send him back down, someone might scoop him up on waivers and send him to their AHL team.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Gensel would add an empty netter. Crosby would get a third point on that one. Raquel would also get a third point as well. Sharks lose this one 3-1. Almost made it 4-1, but Bluger can't hit the net to save his life. It's kind of like Tomas Hertl, to which AO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 says,
"My guys, we've all been there. Guys that can't score on Valentine, we've all been there." Unless you're Timo Meier.
Well, he obviously scored. He had one kid, and the second one's on the way.
I'll hear nothing. La 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 la.
Al, good to see you, bud, in here. We miss you, man. Get on the show soon, please. Ian needs a night off.
Yeah.
Would love to know what Labanc had over DW to get his contract. Been a ghost for 2 years. I mean, he asked if he asks some coaches, it's been the same thing.
I don't know. I think here's the thing, right? And it's I feel bad because I feel like I'm at the point of the season now where I feel like I should just have the Book of Ian, and we can just read from the Book of Ian. The Book of Ian, Book 2, Chapter 3.
Oh God.
This is the third coach that, Kevin Labanc has had these issues with. So what the hell's going on? But he's also, in my opinion, too talented of a player to be playing 5 fucking minutes a game. Just fucking trade him already. Although I don't know. Kevin Labanc's a guy who honestly, you think because of his big nasty contract, you think, okay, maybe we trade him. Maybe no one's going to take him because of that contract hit. And I wouldn't retain on a Kevin Labanc trade because Kevin Labanc has, as I scroll through Captain, has 2 years left on his deal. But, and now you're saying, okay, but you could retain a little bit on that and it would be fine. It's only 2 years, right? However, now I got to find the other tools as I do this on the fly. However,
2 years left.
Should you, where's the buyout calculator? Kevin Labanc's buyout this summer is nothing. There it is, buyout calculator. Kevin Labanc. Amazing YouTube. Ian typing, Ian thinking out loud.
But I mean, it's one of those things that comes up. I mean, obviously, a Vlasic buyout is more popular than anything. But
so if you bought out Kevin Labanc, if we bought him out when? June 15, 20, this is 2023. Yeah, so if you bought him out this year, what do we got here? Buyout results. So you'd only have 1 year left on his deal. You would pay Kevin Labanc $800,000 to not play for your team next year. $2 million against the cap the year after is kind of steep, so maybe that would make you. But again, yeah, I mean, so I guess if you can retain, maybe you do that. But I don't know, retain for 1 year, get hit over the cap for 2 years, you're going to be terrible anyway. At this point, again, he's taking up a roster spot. You have a coach that clearly has no interest in using him. At some point, Mike Grier has to address this.
I mean, you have to, because it's not just him, but Svechnikov, 548. That's on you, Grier. Who's 733 for Stephen Lawrence. That's
now, Robert Caldwell is saying that Kevin Labanc's contract isn't even that bad. I would disagree, my friend. And it's not and I'm not calling you out individually. I think that the problem with the salary cap, with the way it is, obviously with COVID impacting it the way it has, Kevin, the problem is you have to pay your big guys, right? And your big guys are going to eat a lot of cap. But you have a lot of good players that I would call good players. They're not elite. They're just good. Kevin Labanc is a good player. He's a good hockey player, but he makes almost $5 million. Yeah, you can point and be like, oh, Eric Carlson makes 1.5, but I'm telling you right now, if you go through every team, it's the guys making 5 that are murdering their teams. For the ROI for guys making $5 million on their salary cap, those are the contracts that are fucking teams over right now, because they're paying too much for good players. And the league is littered with guys like this right now.
It is. Obviously, I think they're expecting more out of him. Obviously, they got all excited of Game 7. Yes, Jerk, did someone say Game 7? And expected, an influx. But I think the whole time, and I think David Quinn mentioned it a whole lot more throughout the course of the season, is that he has to learn to play the right way. Now, if that means he has to be grit, the defense, to eliminate anything offensive ability whatsoever, these coaches
it's
crazy.
Meritocracy, but at the same time, it's a meritocracy, right? But at the same time, in this meritocracy, when it's time to call guys up, it's Nick Cechek and CJC. So take that what you will.
Yeah,
because it's not like you could call up a guy like Bordelot, who I think has been very good all year, and I've been on the record saying Thomas Bordelot's been very good all year, and you could call him up and you don't have to send him through waivers, right? You're not going to lose him by calling him up, but it's fine. Meritocracy for sure. To play the right way. And I'm not, again, and I don't want to come off here like I'm super defending Kevin Labanc, because I'm not. Because again, at the end of the day, this is coach 3 that we've ended up in this situation at the same time of the year with Kevin Labanc. But I just think it's unfortunate, because you have this guy who I think if you did try and move him right now, you're probably moving him at a loss. And it's unfortunate we let it get to this point. Like I understand that when Mike Grier came in, like obviously he wanted to give some guys a chance to, find their way. New coach, new GM, find your way, see what you have. I don't know, but like I feel like this is something after 2 coaches where maybe you should have made a move sooner. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, it's tough to say. Because, again, you saw so much potential from him early on that there was that possibility he could flourish into something else, but maybe he just had...
Look, I think
he was with Jumbo early on, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and that helps too, obviously. Right. Now, look and again, like, the Sharks, if they traded Kevin Labanc for anything right now, I mean, it's a win. Like, he's a guy who they brought up. 5th-round pick. I mean, it's fine. Again, I don't want to super sit here and pretend like I'm defending Kevin Labanc because I have questions. But I do think that, like the second power play unit that they've been rolling out is fucking laugh out loud funny. And you can't find a spot for Kevin Labanc on there. Like I think it's one of those situations where I think everyone is dumb. I think coaches are dumb. I think the players dumb. I just think the whole fucking organization's kind of dumb at this point. But yeah, I don't know, man. I have a lot of fingers to wag at a lot of people.
Do you want to get that off your chest right now, or?
No, I mean, what the fuck? No, what's the point? I mean, I have to keep something in the bank for later shows. I just think the whole situation is just kind of dumb at this point, right?
Right.
You have this guy who can't get in the lineup. When he does get in the lineup, he gets minimal time and isn't put in a position to succeed. Like again, you look at some of the players that were playing on that second power play unit. Like who was on the second power play unit? Not this game, but last game. I gotta find a tweet here from.
You do that, and I will say, all right. So the Sharks lose this one, 3-1 to Pittsburgh. They're still at 5 wins at home. As we mentioned before, easily the worst home team in the league by a long shot. Anaheim's the next closest at 9. And, for every good that's happened with the Sharks lately, it just seems like there's a tough spot that make them fall back into, 3 wins in their last 4 games coming into tonight, and then...
This was a couple of games ago, right? Because this is from February 12th. This is from JD Young, our friend JD Young over at Locked On Sharks.
Hi, JD.
Power play 2. Benino, McDonald, Benning, Lindblom, and Esimont. You're telling me you can't fit Kevin Labanc on that fucking gong show of a power play line?
Considering he scored 4 power play points in 5 minutes.
Well, it doesn't even matter. Just in general, like, look.
But I mean,
who on that line screams playoff specialist to me? Like to you?
Nobody.
Bingo.
Nobody.
Bingo.
I mean, read the forwards again. You have
Benino, Lindblom, Esimont.
So you have 2 bottom 6 forwards on your second power play.
You have
your third pair of defensemen?
Bottom 6 forwards. On a normal team would be 3 bottom 6 forwards.
True.
And you have Joey McDonald, which I haven't seen enough of Joey McDonald to really shit on him, but I've seen way more of Matt Benning than I think any of us want to.
And we got 3 more years after this one.
Woohoo!
But in a way, not to call the Sharks out for anything, but in a way, is that somewhat proof that they're tanking? Because, I mean, that power play is putrid. Their power
but I mean, who else is... I mean, but at the same time, right? Like, so what's your first power play? It's going to be Couture. I mean, it's just a problem of having, like, you're elevating bottom 6 players into your top 6 by necessity. One, because you decided you just never want to see one of them again. And for the rest of them, you only have so many to go around until we trade Timo, and then we're gonna have even less of them.
What's power play one? I mean, Couture, Meier, Hurdle, Carlson. Who's on the other point, or is it Couture on the point? I mean, that to me kind of. I mean, if you're front loading your top power play, okay, I get why you'd be the second unit would be
Sure.
like that. But if somebody like Barabanov isn't getting much time on the top power play, I mean,
I see, and I'm sure I don't know who's on it. I'm sure he is. Like, I'm sure they're just loading it to, Couture, Barbie, Timo, Hurdle, Carlson probably is what they're rolling on their top unit.
yeah.
If I'm guessing, I don't know.
Going
this team is
forwards
like,
and a defenseman, it makes sense.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I just saw that JD had tweeted out that line from like another thing, and then when you look at today, and it's like, again, he played 5 minutes because he doesn't play the right way. But whatever, it is what it is. Like, again, I hate this because it makes it sound like I'm defending Kevin Labanc, and I'm not really defending Kevin Labanc. I kind of think everyone's dumb at this point. He's dumb for whatever he's done to wind up in the doghouse for the third straight year with the third straight coach. And, 3-4 years, like, he's dumb for that. And, and the coaching staff's dumb at this point for rolling out that second power play with a straight fucking face.
Right. And well, let's be honest here. It's nothing pretty to look at. Hell, I'd be curious to pull up the stat of when the second unit actually scored a goal.
It is what it is, man. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, so
I don't know. This is dumb.
It's dumb, but
dumb. The show is no. I'm just kidding.
Hey, take it easy over there. So I know you did Pucknologist the other night, and
I did.
And you kind of talked about
Look at me. I'm the Pucknologist now.
Oh boy, jerk. Watch out. AJ, your thoughts on that?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, okay. Well, of course. But the whole Carlson rumor thing, there's no way that Edmonton's going to be able to do this. Or
if there's a GM dumb enough to do it, it is Ken Holland. I don't know. Again, here's the thing, right? Because I feel like if you're going to trade Timo, then you have to trade Carlson too. Like, just at that point.
Explain that in that.
Explain that to you. Well, it's simple because, like, if you're trading Erik Karlsson, you're going to have to retain salary. If you're retaining salary for 4 years left on Erik Karlsson's deal to the tune of $4 to $5 million, then what's the point of keeping Timo? This team is going to not only be good, but completely cap hamstrung. It's going to have any raises in caps completely negated by dead cap for the next 4 years. If it's going to be 4 years before this team even considers turning around, then what the fuck's the point of keeping Timo at that point? Get rid of him with whatever return you get for Erik Karlsson, and then use all that draft capital to start building for when your team is going to come out of cap hell, which is what they will be in if Erik Karlsson's traded. Simple, really.
And salary retention.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because you're going to have so much dead cap for 4 years. Because you already have, you have dead cap still on the books for Jones, which you had to do. Brent Burns, they had to move some cap off the blue line. They had way too much cap tied up in the blue line. Burns made the most sense to move. He's going to be, he's at the end of his deal. He's at the, he's approaching the twilight of his career. I think that's fair. Not everyone ages like Joe Pavelski. In fact, most players don't.
Right.
So at that point, you have dead cap there. You have dead cap. You have, what else do you have dead cap from? I had it up. You know what I mean? So if you're going to do that, and if you're going to add Erik Karlsson dead cap to that too, not only that, you're going to pay Erik Karlsson $4 million to not pay for you, which is cap management. Yeah, you still have a little bit of Martin Jones money. on the cap, although it's not that bad. It's 1.6 million. But you know what I mean? Like if you're going to have that much dead cap and you're going to pay good players to not play for your team, then what's the point of keeping Timo? This is that you only keep Timo if you think that you can fudge things and turn them around quickly. Mm-hmm. But if you are trading Erik Karlsson, you are waving the white flag for 4 years.
Yes.
Right? For 4 to 5 years, you're waving the white flag.
You're basically saying this is a mess.
What's the point?
Yeah. No,
Why Timo Meier at that point?
I get that point, because as much as Strick has mentioned how, you'll be looking for a Timo Meier in the draft for over the years.
But you want that Timo Meier when you want your team to be good when it comes out of the rebuild, and Timo Meier is a young guy, so it's not like he's those 4 years are going to end and Timo's going to be on the ice in a walker, but you've already wasted the best years of his career.
Yeah, and he's been a hell of a player this year.
I don't think Karlsson's getting moved. I'll be shocked if I have to come on here and do a show about Karlsson getting moved, because one, it'll be me eating crow for a half an hour after basically saying this year, like, guys are idiots. But then again, like I said, if there's a GM dumb enough to do it, Ken Holland is high on that list. Look, Ken Holland, a lot of pressure, man. You want to talk about wasting prime years of a good player.
Oh God. Or two good players. Hell, Nugent Hopkins has had a hell of a year too.
Yeah, but Nugent Hopkins isn't Connor McDavid.
No, totally. But I mean, again, has had a pretty solid year for Edmonton. And Robert Cardwell is saying McDavid and Draisaitl rumored to be talking to Holland about needing a puck moving defenseman. I think that's why they're even trying to talk.
I understand from their perspective, I understand, because again, those guys know their window to win is now. I understand them wanting to pressure Holland to make moves that actually help their team and help to put them over the edge. My concern would be, and look at, everyone knows that I'm an Erik Karlsson guy, but I don't have amnesia. I remember how we got here with Erik Karlsson. As good as Erik Karlsson has been this year, it took us, a couple of years to get here.
Basically, year 4.
Well, right. Well, I'd say, we had the one good year, and then obviously kind of things went off the rail, COVID season, everything else. But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be the 3rd year without playoffs in a row.
4.
I remember. You're right. And that's how long it's been. But I remember how we got here, right? That's my point. Is I remember how we got here. So that's why I think a lot of people, although if you're going to get someone to retain cap and maybe you get a third team in to eat some cap, that's always a possibility too. I understand that. I just wonder if that hurts the Sharks at all, if the Sharks have to not get as good a return if they're including a third team to help eat cap. I wonder how that works. Like, I'd like to see that trade in action to see how that goes.
Now, and Robert had mentioned that before, a third trade partner. Now, do you have to give something to that third team as well? Because isn't that how Stefan Nason got moved to Toronto in I think it was the Nick Foligno deal with Columbus?
Yeah, they can't just eat cap and get nothing. They have to get something out of the deal. But that's fine. I mean, you can flip them anything, right? You could flip them. I don't know. You could flip them some guy that's on a. You could flip them Scott Reedy.
There you go. It's just the guy from the guy.
I'm just trying to think. Right. I'm just trying to think of a guy. Right.
Yeah.
And I just used him as just an example of a guy who, you give them Scott Reedy, who hasn't, who's played a little bit for the Barracuda this year, but again, another guy who's coming up on a pending RFA, with arbitration rights that maybe they keep, maybe they don't, and you just flip them overboard in that deal to, over to whoever's eating the third cap. I don't know. They do have to get something out of the deal, whether it's from us or from Edmonton. I don't know. That again, I'd like to see that trade and the trade happen. It's easier to. I have a hard time. I don't have a good imagination. This is the problem. I don't have a good imagination. I'm good at analyzing things. I'm not good at making stuff up.
Well, It'd be nice to dream of some things, and fortunately, dreaming of a big shiny thing coming to Silicon Valley for his really seems like years away. And if it's years away, then yeah, you maybe go for a deal. Granted, New Jersey wants final say. Oh, because
That's fine. Yeah, and look at again, and again, I was just using Scott Reedy as an example of just a guy, right?
No,
Like
totally.
I'm not advocating for shoving Reedy overboard. I was just using him as an example.
So we'll see how it goes. I mean, today's February 14th, so we're about 17 days away from the trade deadline. It's going to get crazier. Meier is the number one guy on TSN's trade bait board. Carlson keeps moving up because you hear things like, if Edmonton had Erik Karlsson, there's their missing piece.
Sure, right, and that's the thing, right? Like you're trying to look at if you can get this Erik Karlsson for the rest of his contract, then great.
Yeah.
But I say this as a guy who loves Erik Karlsson, and I'll be sad to see him go. But I also understand the reality of the situation. So, I would be very much buyer beware on Erik Karlsson.
Yeah. You've had one good year, but maybe that's where you try to, prime it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. Like, there's a lot of rumors out there, obviously, and you think of like all the wonderful stuff. But again, I don't know. I just feel like if you're trading Erik Karlsson, you should just trade both of them at that point. Because at that point, I don't think this is going to be quick.
Yeah, you're admitting that this is a multi-year rebuild.
This is more of a teardown than we thought it was.
Which could be very scary at how this teardown is, because it's already rough as it is with everybody.
Hasn't even started yet.
Exactly. I mean, you're just getting into
the scary thing is because it's like this team has been. It's been. Look at. I've enjoyed a lot of games this year, but I don't have to leave my house to watch them. I can sit here in my office and throw the game on one monitor and throw Twitter on the other, and have a grand old time the majority of the time. I'm not paying for parking and concessions and tickets, and those are the people that obviously the Sharks have to worry about. And the thing is it hasn't been a whole I think for people going to games, it probably hasn't been a whole lot of fun, especially if you're spending a lot of money to watch this team win very rarely. And it would be hard for me to take a call from a season ticket rep if the trajectory only seems like it's going to get worse from here.
Yeah.
Like, and that's business. That's a business reality, right? It's easy for us to sit here with not to say that we have no financial investment in the team, but it's easy for us to be like, just tear it down to the bolts and whatever. And, as long as we can come out of it with Connor Bedard and blah, 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 then it'll be fine. But it's another, they have to balance the business of hockey with the thing. Although I always said, I've been a long time proponent on this podcast that if you worry about the hockey side, the business side will always sort itself out.
So even with the lack of attendance and everything like that, yeah. So,
I don't know. What do I know?
We'll see. We are getting close to the trade deadline. We'll see how it goes. Does he get re-signed? Who knows? So be with us along the way. If you haven't hit that subscribe button down below, make sure you do so. Of course, hit that notification bell, and that will notify you when we go live, whether it's after dark for the games. Of course, Pucknologist, the weekly roundup, and whenever news breaks, it's most likely.
Fix it.
That's right. With alien tape and Flex Seal and crazy glue. May not look pretty, but it's getting fixed.
It's not going to look pretty. Yeah, no, but yeah, when news breaks, we'll fix it. If you like what we do, you should follow us on the Teal Town USA account on Twitter machine. Tomorrow the Barracuda are playing somebody. I forget who. I think Ontario. But anyway, I'll be tweeting about that tomorrow on the Teal Town USA account. So if you want to know what's going on with the Barracuda, keep track of us on there.
Yep. So at Teal Town USA on the Twitter machine. He's at Ian Blogs Hockey on Twitter. I am at PuckGuy14 on there. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, we encourage you to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. And, of course, if you're watching us on the replay, leave a comment below as to your favorite location for Timo. Obviously, probably East, I would guess. I don't think you want to play in the West. And Ken?
No, I mean, when you hear, it always makes me funny because now, the big rumors is, Vegas is getting in on the mix, too. And, I think that would break my heart.
Be like, how could they fit him in?
But, they could figure that out next year after they long-term injury reserve Mark Stone, and that would make more than enough room for them to take Timo, and then they could worry about it next year. I'm sure they could throw another good player overboard for nothing.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll send Jack Eichel over here.
Who will be the next? The Carolina Hurricanes won the lottery last time. I wonder who will win the lottery this time. Get a really good player for future considerations.
Right. So we'll see how that goes for sure. We will be back with you. Careful.
I'm good.
He's getting choked up, folks, about Meier and Carlson potentially leaving. And speaking of Vegas, that's the Sharks' next opponent on Thursday. Boy, howdy, they're going to take on Aiden Hill and the Vegas Golden Knights, and how Aiden Hill has done a pretty superb job, and why the hell did we let him go?
Fuck that. Don't even start. Jesus Christ.
I'm getting you set up for Landy on
the
Thursday.
moral of the moral of the podcast. The moral of this podcast is drink with your stomach, not your lungs.
Please be careful, my friend. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, drink with your stomach, not your lungs.
Write that down in your list of quotes, everyone. I'm at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. Hey, no matter what, a bunch of love, a bunch of gratitude to each and every one of you watching us, and hope you had a nice Tuesday or a nice Valentine's Day. And we'll be back with you Thursday following Sharks and Golden Knights. That is I believe, a 7 o'clock puck drop in Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. Will there be a jerk bump? We hope so. So, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back with you following that game. And until next time, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you Thursday.